Hey folks, I'm not in my normal habit to frankly go on a bit of a rant, but today I'm going to go on a bit of a rant on what I call flawed board thinking something. Flawed board, I had a really kind of a bizarre, almost out of body experience earlier today. On the phone with a prospective client who we were helping over here at our executive director. We're again an association management company where we run the affairs on outsourced model, shared services model for small not-for-profits and associations. And in this situation, literally after agreeing to take a call like this, interrupted on several occasions with rather misconceptions about even what this was about. First, it was, we can't afford you. Well, first of all, number one, a myth I want to talk about in terms of flawed board thinking about myths and as it relates to AMCs is that, you know what, on the fact of this, if you actually are able to step out there and calmly reflect on things, AMCs are an extremely economical option, probably the more option than I dare say, I'm sorry to say this for standalones out there, because you only pay for the resources you need at the time that you need, okay? And AMCs give you much more flexibility on this. Now, that's the first thing. When we got there and I got past this point there, the next myth that thrown at me very rather aggressively was AMC staff will not care. We want to own our own staff like this. Well, let me tell you something. AMC professionals care deeply about their clients and the associations and the nonprofits. And you get into this largely because you have a passion for the mission. They understand AMCs, like our executive director, and I'll say even on some of our competitors out there, care enormously about the missions and the commitments of the volunteers and the investments of members. You need to look, if your concern, frankly, is largely about whether or not they're going to be dedicated to you or somehow divided on the return, you need to look at the individuals in question and talk about this, okay? Somehow stating that someone, because they're going to be managing a number of nonprofits, they're not going to be there for you, is akin to saying that because a board member has a job or has other family somewhat commitments, that they're not going to either care for the organization as well. And we know that that's just absolute bunk, absolute bunk. So when we get down to the next kind of the issue is that, well, by hiring an AMC, maybe the board's going to be giving up control, or we won't even have there. They won't be investing in this. The fact of the matter is, the nonprofits and associations, they belong to the members, they belong to donors, and not the staff as well. Anyways, while AMCs, of course, just like staff, may make recommendations, the final, decisions are left with volunteer leadership. Look, folks, if you're already from the get-go concerned that there's a private sector involvement or that a business interest might be wanting to get involved with this, maybe there is something a little bit further beyond this. And what that comes down to is even something I read more recently, very telling, by a book by Dan Pelota, Uncharitable, on this, where he says sometimes this reticence or this reaction, negative reaction towards private sector wanting to be able to help, or there's some they're in contradiction that, you can be profitable and run a company and still want to do very good, dates back to, frankly, the Pilgrims era, wherein it was viewed as a sin to make money, and as a result, the way that you compensated for that was to do charitable work, and then ergo by somehow profiting by you're doing something wrong. It's just so flawed. It's just so flawed, and it holds back unnecessarily the sector. So look, I invite you out there, if you want to really know what the AMC model is, take a look at this. It's bit.ly, okay, bit.ly/why AMCs are better, okay? Strict page, just strictly on the page of the site of our executive director, and you get the whole rundown as well, okay? Thanks so much, and well, folks, we've got to do better, and we need to do this, and it starts first with having the right attitude.